Well, Pato, we're gonna take a look back at your life and career to date, using some random objects related to your life so far. I promise I haven't stitched you up too much. We'll soon see.
Yeah.
So if you wanna, we're gonna go way back to the start now.
Okay.
If you wanna have a look, what's in the box?
Just go now, yeah?
Yeah,
Is it just one thing in here?
it's just one thing, yeah. So I heard that your football career started in Asda of all places.
Yeah.
So can you tell us the Asda story?
How do you know that?
I should probably say, you know how I'm besties with your mum Wendy?
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, no, you ain't asked her for stuff, have you?
She's given me, let's say, some insight.
She's stitched me, hasn't she? Well, I wouldn't say my career started in Asda. I mean, you know, I wouldn't say it started there, but I used to beg my mum to get me in a football team for a couple of years. And she actually was walking around Asda and seen like this is what she said, yeah?
Yeah.
So she was walking around Asda, and she seen a sign saying player wanted. And she rang it up, and then I went to train with them. Trained with them like once, and then there was two teams that trained at the same place, and the other team was training on the other pitch, and they were an A team at the time. We had like A, B and C, and the team that my mum seen was a C team, and I ended up straight signing for the A team that were like top of the A League. So I went from my mum working in Asda to being like the best local sort of Sunday League team really. So yeah, that all happened pretty much. My career started in Asda, yeah, which is mental really.
Going back to the very start,
Do you want me to put that on or not?
Yeah, go on, I just want to see it.
It's a terrible
Growing up in Coventry, were you a little terror when you were a kid?
In what in what way?
I don't know, like in school.
Yeah, I think I was always the jokey character, but I don't think teachers would have hated me, but would have been like probably loved me, but thought, oh, he's a nightmare at the same time. But I just like to have a laugh. You know what I'm like. I was like I've been exactly the same my whole life, just joking about. And probably in school, it's not the best thing to do. Like, but I just try to have the best time.
When did you first get into football?
As in just my first ever memory of it. That's a good question. I always remember always loving football from the first memory that I have when I was younger, just always liking football. My brothers all love football, so they were always playing. They were a little bit older than me, so I always wanted to get involved with them, and they were always like 3 or 4 years older than me, so I used to just get threw around and just bullied really by my brothers in the most lovable way. But then they probably seen that I was half decent, but I was just obsessed with it. I used to go to bed with my kit on and that, with football in my bed and stuff like that. I've just always been like that, so I don't know why or how, but probably because of my brothers and all that sort of stuff. But I wouldn't say my 3 older brothers and my dad are mad into football either, really. I'd say my closest brother used to play football, and that's probably the only one I really looked at. But everyone enjoys football. My dad's a Coventry fan and all that sort of stuff, but he isn't a season ticket holder. He lives down Devon now, but he always goes, he always gets fuming with me when I score against them.
Now there's one mad story of you broke your leg, and then within the space of a week, your brother Andre broke his leg.
Yeah.
You were even on TV.
Yeah.
But at that time, was there any doubt in your mind that your football career could kind of be over before it even started?
Weirdly, it's gonna sound strange, but when it's quite dangerous to think that way. But I always just, in my head, for some reason, just thought I was going to be a footballer. I never even looked at anything else and thought about anything else, which isn't the right thing to think, really. But maybe, you know, I was so driven on being a footballer, and I already felt like a footballer even when I was 13, 14, being in academies and stuff. You know, everyone knows that you play for academies and you're the footballer type of lad. Yeah, I was always thought that I was going to be one, really. Obviously, that situation, I broke my leg in the first year youth team, and you only have 2 years as an apprentice to try and get a professional contract. Obviously, I broke my leg in the first year, missed the whole season, really. And then my brother, it was in the same week, my brother broke his leg the next week in a local game. And then he got airlifted to hospital on gas and air and all that sort of stuff. And then I went to hospital just to visit him on my what they call on my crutches. And there was cameras there. I was like, what's going on here? This is a bit bizarre. My brother's in a world of pain and stuff. And then they just wanted an interview with me just to ask me how I did my leg. And I was like, well, I broke my leg playing for Walsall. And they were like, oh, you're a footballer? And I was like, well, youth team, yeah. And then we both had this interview on Real A&E, it was called.
I've seen it.
And it's still on TV now. I get people sending it me now to this day. And I look about 11 and I was about 17. I had Adidas hoodie on, I had a skinhead. Honestly, it just always does the rounds. So that was a bit of a random claim to fame.
Now, family is very important to you and always has been. Can you just talk us through some of your tattoos?
Oh, yeah, this is a real portrait of my nan, my dad, me, my granddad, and my nan and granddad's little dog, Penny. Little Yorkshire, she was a terrier as well, by the way. And yeah, to be honest, both my sleeves are to do with my nan, pretty much. I used to live with when I was a kid. So that's me and my nan. It's just like a silhouette and like a happy place, really, that I always like to go back to if, I don't know, any hard times or you ask for something. I just always use that. A bit of a saying about that, about my nan, rest in peace, and her name and stuff like that. So that's me as a kid, sort of looking at myself, trying to be, you know, that was my dream as a kid.
That you playing for
That's actually a real celebration. It was a good photo, I like that photo. And yeah, that was just me as a kid, obviously. It's not actually me. Just a bit of a dream of what I wanted to be. So yeah, thought it went well with all the other sort of stuff. I still need to finish. I've got a lot of stuff I need to finish on it, but I've got the main things on there. And give me a bit of comfort, I suppose.
Your little nephew is getting into football. Do you think he'll follow in your footsteps one day?
I don't want to put the pressure on him. Yeah, he was always mad into motorbikes and racing cars, which I was as well, to be fair. I was always wanted to be a footballer, but I used to love racing cars and, you know, on your mat on the floor, and motorbikes, and a bit of a petrol head, really. And he was exactly the same, but then he's about 5 or 6 now, and he's just completely switched to football. He's just obsessed with it. And now he FaceTimes me before every game saying, I better score. He scored 2, so if I don't score 2, I'm not as good as him. But he's getting more and more into it now, and he's got every football kit. I get him every kit that I can with his name on the back. He come out as a mascot. He loved it. And I think them little things that he sees. And now he understands his uncle actually plays football, and people are asking him at school, and he loves it. As you can imagine, I'd love it if I had an uncle or someone in my family that was a footballer. But if he's good, I'll try and help him. If he don't want to do it, it's up to him, I suppose. But yeah, I think from what I've seen, I don't want to overhype him, but he is good. But I don't tell him that, or his dad. When I watched him, I thought he's a bit different to me. He just sort of runs around just really angry and tries to kick people. I was never really like that. But he has got ability and he's quick and he's both-footed. So if there's any Man United scout, get him to Swansea.
Yeah, watch his face.
Get him in early, train him up, you never know.
So we're gonna stick with your childhood theme.
Okay.
If you wanna have a look in the box, there's more than one. Just get them
Is
all out.
this my mum, is it, causing this sort of...
Maybe,
it is, isn't it? To be
maybe.
honest. Oh God, photo frames. Oh my God.
Go on, don't be shy.
Oh my.
So for the last 2 weeks when you've been asking me...
Where's she got that from? What?
This is why I couldn't tell you.
Oh my God, she's done me 10-0. Oh. Well, which one do you want to start with?
Start with this one. So who are you playing for there?
That was that team that I told you about, the A team.
So this is Wycombe.
Wycombe, yeah. As you can see, I was really good looking when I was a child.
Highlights.
Yeah, highlights, exactly the same trim. Pro Star kit, classic. You see my little champagne Preds that I had on as well?
Yeah.
They were lovely, they were. I might bring them back actually, they're very nice boots. But yeah, that was when I was probably 9 or 10, playing in a tournament probably, I think. Yeah, local tournament. Just back when you were playing freely and you didn't have 30,000 fans shouting at you in good and bad ways. But yeah, that was, I don't know where you got, my mum stitched me up massively with that one.
There's more where that came from.
Yeah,
You've got playing for school here.
Yeah,
and
that
if you
was,
read it, it says you've got a trial with Coventry City Academy.
Yeah, that was when we won the cup, but we were playing a year below, I think. No, we were playing against the years above.
Right.
For some reason, I can't remember why. I don't think there was enough teams or something like that. So we played the year above. That photo, look at my trim.
Do you keep in touch with anyone from school?
Yeah, well, that's my best mate still.
Yeah.
Ryan Vince, he's always been my best mate. I still talk to him every day. He's still part of the same group. So them two are really good mates.
That's nice.
He's also still a really good friend. So there's them three there.
Yeah.
I still talk to them every day pretty much. Obviously, I don't really speak to any of them really, but we all went to the same secondary school as well. So everyone went through primary and secondary. So these have been my best mates, same area, nursery,
really?
Primary, secondary,
that's nice.
So we've all been on holiday together and stuff like that. They're the people, if I go home and I catch up with people, it'll be them. But yeah, that says, are having trials at Coventry Academy, yeah.
And they spelt your name wrong.
Oh, I used to hate that when they spelt my name. My dad used to get really angry about it as well. Matty was already there, I didn't even know that. Yeah, that's mad.
That's the best I've seen your hair.
Oh my God. I've got a photo like that that's quite similar on my Insta.
What, like
I've got
a
the same
current day
trim.
one?
Look at that, that's weird. Wait, where is it?
That one,
Look at
yeah.
that. Same trim.
Identical.
That is actually
Nothing's
mad.
changed.
Nah. I don't know, is that a Coca-Cola jumper on I've got?
I looks like.
Used to love Coca-Cola back in the day. Honestly, I used to drink it all the time.
Look how blonde you were then.
I know. That was cute though, wasn't I? To be honest. Yeah, that's, I don't know how old I was there. What do you reckon I was there, 3?
Yeah, look about that.
Yeah, cheeky smile. You can already tell what was to come, couldn't you?
The Coventry kit.
Yeah, I've got the whole thing on now, and I got the shorts, the socks, the jumper, the t-shirt underneath. I used to get that every Christmas. The whole kit. I had a Coventry City football, shin pads. I had everything. I think the only thing I probably didn't have was Coventry City pants. But don't quote me on that. I can't remember. But yeah, I was always obviously a massive Coventry fan, and still am really. So.
Would you go as much as you could when you were younger?
Now?
When you were growing up, like that age?
Yeah, what, did I go to the games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a season ticket till I was about 15, 16. So I had a season ticket, Junior Sky Blue it was called, from like 9 to 16. So I had the old stadium, Highfield Road, when they were in the Premier League. And then they were in the Championship for a while. And then they went to the Rico and I still had a season ticket there for like probably 3 or 4 years. So it's weird going back to play there now, especially when I scored there a couple of years back. That was bizarre. It's always weird playing against them. Obviously, I've played against them a lot of times now, so it's like, it's a bit more of a normal game. But the first couple of times, I scored 2 against them for Walsall when I was like 20, and that was probably the most bizarre moment of my career, really, because I was just floating around the pitch thinking, what's going on here? Everyone was fuming with me. My dad, my brothers, my cousin. What else you got?
This one is the one.
Yeah, that's
tattoo.
the photo there. Yeah, as you can see, it's detailed.
That's such a good tattoo.
But that's yeah, we didn't have many photos. I haven't got many photos. When I was a kid, I can't even remember seeing many photos. You probably got every one I've got. I ain't even seen that one before. Where she got that one from? I do not know. I've only just got that one. Yeah, so that's my nan and my granddad. That's the only photo I've got of my nan and granddad and me together. Wow. And my dad as well, so it's a special photo really, and that's why I love having that on my arm. Sometimes I just look at it now and again. But yeah, you can see my dad's haircut as well. Do you think he looks like me?
A little bit.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
same amount of hair.
He's got a curly fro. He's still got it now. He
He
hardly looks any different. Honestly, if you've seen him, you'd be like, it's mad how he looks exactly the same.
Right, so this is from your first ever job when you got your football apprenticeship with Warsaw.
Yeah. Just look at my haircut.
And we actually have the actual picture there too. Little squint.
Yeah, obviously that was when I was younger. I can't even remember when that was. I can still think I had blonde highlights there, or that might have been the sun. But yeah, that was when I got my apprentice when I was 16. So put that photo on that in the paper, I think it was, in the local paper. Yeah, it was actually my first job, yeah. That's
Started in Asda,
mad, isn't it?
ended up in Warsaw.
It is mad. When
And
you
then
leave
you've
school
got
and
a team there. Do you know what anyone else in that picture's up to these days?
that's Sean Geddes and Stuart. Oh, Stuart something. We all went to Man United at the same time
Right.
when we were kids. And then I think he plays in like the conference for somebody.
Right.
I can't remember the exact team, but I've seen Jamie Osborne, his name is. I've seen him around. And also Reece Wabara was in that team.
Mania
I
Devoir.
think, yeah, he was in that same team. I think he might have been cut off. Might have been someone else in there. But from that whole team, I think the only people that actually had a career was me and Reece. Had a slight career, and obviously that lad there, that Jamie. But I can't even remember some of their names. DJ was quite good. But as you can see, I don't even know how old I was there, but you see how younger I looked than everyone else.
Yeah.
I was so far behind. Good times.
And then this one, Cov Kits.
Yeah, that was when I went to the Watford tournament on trial actually, and I think that's where I got scouted for Man United whilst I was on trial at Coventry.
Really?
Something like that. I can't remember the exact time frame. But there are a few of them. We had Callum Wilson in that team.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know Callum Wilson. Jordan Clark, he used to play for Coventry, and I think he still plays now in the conference, I think, League Two. He's had a good career. But not many from that either, really. It's three of us, which is mad. Look at my hair there.
You were so blonde back
Grey
in the
Preds
day.
as well. It's just be a predator.
Yeah.
They've come back out now, actually.
They have.
Makes me want to get a pair.
Right, so you were a Coventry City fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other team was Liverpool.
Yeah.
If you want to have a look. How did you support Liverpool? Was that through your dad?
No, the reason why I supported Liverpool is because when I was younger, I used to say my name was Michael Owen when I was a kid. So anyone asked me who I was Michael Owen. Because around that time when I was starting to enjoy football, he was scoring goals for England, and I remember he scored the winner. He went on a mazy run and banged it top corner. I remember that. That's all I remember. So I used to love Michael Owen. He's my favourite player, and because he played for Liverpool, that was the reason why I supported them. And then when he left, I was gutted because I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen now? And it just carried on from there, really. So I've always been a big Liverpool fan.
Would you say he was your biggest idol when you were growing up?
When I was a kid, yeah, more probably. When I
Yeah.
was younger, I used to really love Michael Owen, yeah. Just because he was the hot property around that time, and when you're younger, it's always the one who's doing the best. And he was England's best player at the time. I think he was like 18 or something. So don't know how old I was, but yeah, that just carried on from there, really. I've never got to play against them, which is a bit of a nightmare. So hopefully we've still got a few years
Yeah.
left to try and get. I'd love to play at Anfield, but if Coventry were playing Liverpool, I'd want Coventry. But yeah, Liverpool are definitely a team I support. Watch every one of their games and stuff. And Walshy tries to claim he's a bigger Liverpool fan than me just because he's from Liverpool. But I think I'm a bigger fan. So
Being a Liverpool fan, being part of the Man United setup, how did you find that? Just had to block it out.
didn't bother me,
Yeah.
really. It didn't bother me. I was just a kid playing for Man United, and at the time Man United were the biggest, best club in the world. So it was like, that whole time was just bizarre, really. It's a bit surreal. Going up there at 11, 12 years of age and watching the first team train and meeting all the players and stuff. And they're signing my trainers. Mum and Dad bought me a new pair of trainers. I come back with all the signatures on it. They were fuming. Yeah, that was surreal to be up there training with some of the players that had unbelievable careers playing for Man United and stuff like that. And I learned so much by training and playing there. Just used to have this coach called Rennie Mullenstein and Mark Dempsey. I remember them, and they were so like it's just technically like just we would train about just doing skills, Cruyff turns, step overs, and all stuff like that. And I feel like I've always carried that on in my career, really. So yeah, that was a amazing experience when I was a kid.
Let's talk about your time at Walsall, if you want to have a look.
How have you got that?
So, Dean Smith was your youth team manager at Walsall.
Yeah.
And then he became first team manager at the same time as you went pro.
Yeah.
How instrumental a part has he played in your career?
Number one, by a mile. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with it really, because obviously he was my... So when I broke my leg, it was a different coach, and he came in my second year, and I remember him just pulling me in. He was a bit like a father figure, really. And I've got so many stories about how he used to start. One time, I come in with a sausage sandwich for breakfast, because I used to get like free trains, and like I didn't have time to have breakfast. And he knew that anyway, but I came in with a sausage sandwich one day, and I was trying to eat it quickly in the corner, like thinking I'm starving. And he come in and he goes, "What's that?" I goes, "A sausage sandwich." He went, "Oh, you got that for me?" And I was like, "Nah." And he went, "You have?" I went, "Okay." And he took my sausage sandwich and ate it. And I thought it was hilarious at the time. But then he come in to me afterwards and he was like, "Can't be coming in with a sausage sandwich like for before training." He was like, "You need to eat properly and all that." And I just never really thought about anything like that. I just never really had any guidance or anyone really caring. And yeah, there was a couple. There's so many things. I'm not going to bore you with them all. But he used to just. I'll tell you one. We was on the train once on the way back, and one of the lads was messing around, and someone's rang up and obviously like complained that we were loud. We all had our tracksuits on, and the only person we went back into training the next day, and the only person that he stopped playing on that Saturday was me, and I didn't even do anything at the time.
Yeah.
There was about 10 of us. And I was thinking, like, mate, is he just picking on me, like, at the time? And then he pulled me to the side and he was just like, "I've got big hopes for you and stuff. I just don't want you to go down the wrong path and whatever." And he took me out. And then when I got back in, I just started scoring more and more and more. And he was like a father figure to me, really. The amount of times he told me off, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And that love and that care, and really gave me that belief. And obviously, when I got into the first team, we already had that connection. So the first few games that I played, I remember I was thinking to myself, like, I'm nowhere near it here, to be honest. I just felt like I wasn't ready. And he stuck with me. And then we got to the next season, and he was like, "Oh, you've got the number 10 shirt for the next season." I remember thinking, like, whoa, like, that's just come out of nowhere. And then just from that moment, I just thought, he's got so much belief in me that I need to produce for him, because he's got me into that stage of being a number 10 in League One. At Walsall, we're doing well at the time. And then I just went on that season and just carried on scoring, and then got my move off the back of that. And I've been very close to playing for him again a couple of times, but just football's not that simple. But yeah, he's my number one for me. Great bloke, great man. And obviously a really good manager, because he's had an unbelievable career as well. And to see him get promoted to Villa when he's the biggest Villa fan. And all I used to do was banter him, because I was a Coventry fan, and he used to hammer me about being a Coventry fan. Because Coventry Villa have got this, they ain't played each other for a while, but back in the day they were a derby. So yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with him?
Yeah, I talk to him a lot.
Do you?
I talk to him a lot. I've had chats with him when he was still a manager at big clubs. He's still giving me advice. He'd watch a couple of my games and stuff like that. He would still say, give me some pointers and advice. And I haven't spoken to him for a little bit. He's in America now. He's got a job in America. Spoke to him a little bit when he got the job there. But yeah, I need to catch up with him actually. I ain't spoken to him for a little while, especially to face. Yeah, great man.
Moving on to your next club, if you want to open the box. You joined Forest from Walsall in the summer of 2013.
Yeah.
How did you find the step up to the Championship and playing for a team the size of Forest?
At the start, probably a bit overwhelming because I went from obviously Walsall. No disrespect to Walsall, compared to Forest, it's night and day really. They're a Premier League club all day long. And when I went there, we went from 3,000 or 4,000 fans at Walsall to 30, 26, 27. So yeah, when I first went there was a bit of an adjustment period. The league was completely different. At the time in the changing room, it was littered with players that I knew from what I watched on TV and big names, and they were a team expected to get promoted. So it was a massive culture shock, everything. It was a bit overwhelming at the start. But then I just somehow played a cup game, scored a hat-trick against West Ham, and then just went on a run of just scoring every week. It was a bizarre time of my career, really. But it was difficult at the same time as well. I can remember it just being really difficult because I just went from Walsall to being in the limelight of playing for Forest and doing well and scoring, and everything that comes with that was at the time was quite difficult because I moved there living on my own for the first time. I was always used to a busy house, so I didn't enjoy living on my own at all. Even though it wasn't that far away, I could have drove back, but it was still 45 minutes to an hour. So I tried to move there and get settled. I think I ended up moving back home in the end, getting a house back home and doing the drive. But it was an amazing period, really. And I did well when I played for them as well. So it was, loads of different managers as well over the 2 or 3 years, which was difficult, to be honest. But some really good managers and played with some unbelievable players, and I still get love off the fans now, really, so that's good.
That game against West Ham, you scored your first goal for Forest, then ended up scoring 3 in the same game, live on BBC. How special a day was that for you then?
Yeah, it was bizarre. Obviously, I'd just been sort of coming off the bench and, I was sort of playing the cup games at the time. It was 3 or 4 months after I'd been there. And that was I think it was my first start. I played a few cup games and off the bench in the Championship, but that was my first proper game. And once I scored the first goal, it just made me think like I'm good enough, sort of thing. And then I think I won the penalty and then scored 2 more, and we won 5-0. On BBC, FA Cup, Forest, West Ham, obviously 2 big clubs. Just remember it ballooning everywhere, really. And then probably the first time in my life where I thought, I think I'm actually a footballer here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was one of them moments, really, that made me think, it was a surreal moment, and something I've got the hat-trick ball still at my mum's in the box, yeah, with a few signatures on it and stuff like that. So yeah, that really kicked my career on. For me to go on a good run after that. I played pretty much every game after that in the league as well and carried on scoring, so it was a catalyst, really. Yeah,
you scored 6 in your next 9, so you must have taken so much confidence from it.
Yeah, it was more just a belief of thinking that I'm good enough to be here. The lads, obviously, you have to convince the lads. They were all older pros that had unbelievable Premier League careers and really good Championship international players. So you always have to prove yourself to them. And I'm obviously didn't go in there quiet with the character that I am. Yeah. It didn't take long for me to be able to get along with them. Some of them end up being my mates. So yeah, it was a surreal moment, and something I'll always look back on.
Moving on to Bristol City, do the honours. You spent 5 years at Bristol City.
Yeah.
How much did you enjoy your time there?
Yeah, it was the first club, I'd say, that I felt at home. Being somewhere for 5 years and seeing the stadium get built pretty much whilst I was there, the training ground get built, and watch the club rise whilst I was there. And yeah, 5 years is a long time to be at a club, and Bristol's a lovely place to live. So it couldn't have been any better, really. Probably should have got promoted, I think, with the team that we had. But other than that, it was unbelievable. I've still got a place in Bristol, and I still see it as a bit of a second home. So yeah, great time. It's mad that that was 3 years since I've even been there, and I was there for 5 years, but just glad to. I love being at a place where I feel like it's a family and get along with everybody. So to have that there, and then be lucky enough to have it here as well, I've been blessed really for the last few years to be at two clubs that I feel really at home.
And you made friends for life there as well, with the likes of Corey Smith.
Yeah. Well, when I signed here, obviously we had Walshy, Corey, and Luke Williams, the gaffer now. So Luke Williams was a coach at Bristol at the time. Corey I was with for 5 years, and Walshy I was with for 5 years. So them two are always going to be some.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, me and Walshy are always going to have to be friends. But yeah, so now I've played with Walshy for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, 7 or 8 years, which is not a very common thing really, that you play with someone for that long. That's a good thing about football, you know, you can meet some really good people and really good friends for life. Because you share all the ups and downs together. You're with each other every minute of the day. You see them more than anyone, unfortunately. But yeah, you spend that much time with each other, you can't not become good friends with people. And it's always horrible when you leave a team. It's always a bit like, you try and hold yourself together here, get in the car and probably cry on the way home.
One of the periods that stands out from your time at Bristol City was the run to the Carabao Cup semi-finals.
Yeah.
How brilliant a time was that?
That's another surreal moment, really. We beat sort of 5 or 6 Premier League teams on that run. And we were top of the league as well. We were second in the league, I think, in the Championship. We had a great team. Yeah, I think the cup run probably, we had a great team. We didn't have a big squad. And we sort of just ran out of steam, really, towards the end of the season. But because we had the cup run, we had all these big games, and then we had another big game in the league 3 days later when they haven't played and we were fatigued. Stuff like that, which is difficult to navigate through that without injuries, and then we got a couple of injuries and all that sort of stuff. But the cup run, obviously, we beat Man United in the quarter-final on my birthday.
Corey scored.
Yeah, Corey scored. You never hear the end of that. Yeah, so that was a good birthday present. That was surreal, obviously, playing for them as a kid, and then being able to play against them in the cup and actually beat them when they had their full team out was bizarre. And then we went into the tunnel afterwards, and they did the cup draw, and we had Man City, and we were like, what's going on here? This is bizarre. And then we, all the build up to that semi-final of the cup, as you can imagine, it was surreal. We played so well away. I think we had 12,000 away fans or something. We went 1-0 up at half time, and we deserved it. And they had their full team. Well, they mixed 3 or 4, but their team was ridiculous either way. So to play against them players at Man United and Man City was an amazing experience. And then we played them in the second leg at home. Bit of a different story. They just they played unreal. And we lost. So we lost 2-1 first game, 3-2 in the second game. So we weren't disgraced, and we held our own. And yeah, it was to hear Pep. I remember Pep Guardiola was talking before the game, mentioning players, and he mentioned me, a couple of other players, and I was just sat at home thinking,
How does he know I am?
how does he even know who I am? It's bizarre. Like it was surreal. So yeah, that was a really good time that I'll never ever forget.
Well, I think you must be psychic because you've already referenced something related to the next item. So have a look.
Honestly, I can't get away from him. Oh my.
Well, as you said, you've been with him for 7 years. Live next door to him.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
But it must be nice in football having someone that you get on with so well, so close to you.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I touched on it a minute ago. Obviously, I've played with him 7 years or something. I've been through stuff whilst playing. He's been through stuff whilst playing together. So we know each other inside out, really. And we've got that close relationship where we'll hammer each other as well as be nice to each other. But we try not to be nice to each other. Do you know one of them ones? Yeah. It's like, don't want to show weakness. But you know what Walsh is like as a character. He's loud, bubbly, and he's always up for a laugh. And we've always got along, and it always helps that he's a Liverpool fan, even though he played for Everton.
Yeah, so don't let him forget that.
Don't not put that on there. He's an Everton fan deep down. That's a fact. But yeah.
Do you think it's quite unique how tight-knit Swansea is as a club?
Yeah, I've said it since I've been here. Everyone in the training ground, everyone in the stadium's a Swansea fan. You go to a local coffee shop, the Swansea fans are in there, and they're so friendly all the time. Everyone's a Swansea fan, so when you're playing, you're playing for the chef, you're playing for the kitman, everybody in here supports Swansea. So it's unique in that way that everyone lives close to each other. Nobody lives miles away. Sometimes we just meet up and go for food, or we'll go around one of the lads and 5 or 6 of us will watch a game of football, and I love all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And it brings the lads closer together. And I think that's a strength of Swansea Football Club, really. And as much as had that at Bristol, it's a bit different and it's a bit unique at Swansea that everyone talks about and you don't know until you come here. So that in its own is a real strength, and I think that's why I'll always be proud to have played for Swansea, because of that reason, really.
Right, the next one. If you see half of it, you probably wouldn't know what it's about, so we've put the picture in as well.
Honestly, do not know why I did that.
So this is referencing your celebration when Benny scored in the win at Cardiff, the 4-0 win at Cardiff. What was going through your mind when you just picked up a random photographer's laptop and waved it in the air?
Just looking at Obba's face. And Benny's got his tongue out. Oh my God. I don't know, just the feeling of us scoring there, and just seeing the fans and what that it means to everybody. That you're in there, that probably all you lot are in there, the kit men, the chef's in there with Stone Island coat on. Everyone's in there. And it's a case, like, sometimes especially in them games more so, you just know that so many people in there, all your family are in there. And I just thought, I don't know, I remember just leaning over the thing and I just seen this laptop and I just thought, I'm having it. And I lifted the laptop in the air, which is bizarre, really, when you think about it. I ain't seen that. You need to get me that photo.
I will, I'll send it to you.
I don't think I've got that photo anywhere.
I'll send it to you.
But I think you know me as a character, really. It's not really something that you wouldn't expect me to do, is it?
If it was anyone, it'd be you.
I mean, I could be on a football pitch and I just don't feel like I just still feel the same. Like, I could just do anything stupid whenever, really. Just got to enjoy it, haven't you?
So you played in 3 of the 4 games of the double-double.
Yeah.
I think the most significant one for you was the first 3-0 win at home. You scored 1, had 2 assists.
Yeah.
How special were those games?
I think the first game, for me, obviously coming off the back of a tough injury at Bristol and then eventually leaving Bristol, was probably the lowest moment of my career, really, because I thought I'd been here 5 years. The way it ended wasn't great for me. It didn't feel that great. And then obviously I was in the summer, still injured, really, and worrying about my future and all that sort of stuff. So to be given an opportunity to come to Swansea, I was at Middlesbrough at the time, at the same time, but I'd always thought about Swansea and the way they play football, and it's just always a club that's been there to me in my head of I'd love to play for them. So for that to happen, and then not long after that, do that live on Sky in a game like that, was a really good moment for me. And obviously, what goes with that, I knew it was a big game. You can't get away from it when the chef's got his countdown in the kitchen and all that sort of stuff. I knew it was a big game. I played in derbies before, but this feels a bit more personal. And to win that game 3-0, contribute with a goal and 2 assists, and the way the game went was just unreal. Is probably still one of the best highlights.
How do you think the South Wales derby compares to other derbies you played in?
Well, I think naturally fans have different cultures, different ways of, singing and different songs and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, I played in the Forest versus Derby, and they play for a trophy, the Brian Clough Trophy, and that's a massive game. Obviously, that atmosphere was something else. I played against Leeds Huddersfield, which isn't their biggest derby, but it was Huddersfield's big derby, and that was quite lively. I'm trying to think of others now. Bristol Swansea's always been a little bit spicy, which I never realised until we played them. I remember at one time the hoardings all went over and everyone was on the pitch in the corner, and I was thinking, what's going on here? It's bizarre during the game. But I think this one, for me, being as close as I am to all you lot and in the stadium and the training ground, and like I touched on a minute ago, it felt a lot more. I felt a lot more joy in getting that win, and it's a game you always look forward to and look at it on the calendar. When is it? So we'll all be looking forward to playing them again soon, especially after the last result.
Right. So you're eligible to play for Scotland, and we also thought at one point you were eligible to play for Wales. But tell us the story. We tried our best. But tell us the story.
So basically, my mum's obviously mum and dad. My mum's nan and granddad, lived in Neath, and obviously they had children. But basically, when my great nan went on holiday to England, I think it was Hull or something like that. She actually gave birth there, and then they came back, lived in Wales their whole life. But because on his passport it said Hull, and it didn't say Neath. Wales or Neath or wherever, I wasn't eligible, which is
we tried.
Which is a shame because they actually are Welsh, but everything happens for a reason, I suppose.
Do you think you'd ever want to play for Scotland, or?
I was close to playing for Scotland when I was at Forest. I remember I had a call up, but we had loads of games, so I didn't go on one, and then the next one I didn't get called up or something like that. For whatever reason, it's just never really happened. I know Scotland are quite would prefer to have homegrown, born in Scotland, from Scotland players, from looking at it from the outside. But my granddad was a mad Scotsman. Used to have Scotland flags up in his living room and that. I would have been proud to play for them as much as any other, really.
You've had a fair few of hairstyles over the years. Some of them, let's say, are a bit dodgy. Have a look.
I don't want to look.
You do want to look.
Oh my God. I ain't getting that out.
Yeah, you are.
Hairspray.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh my God, where you got these pictures from?
I was scouring the web.
I know.
So, top left, you're looking like Green Street. Top right, you're looking like Deidre Barlow. You don't even know what that is, do you?
No, I do. Cora, or EastEnders Coronation Street.
Sorry.
I know you're on about.
The line is sharp in the centre.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. I don't know why I had that.
What's your favourite one?
This one's easy to look after. It's not too dissimilar to that.
Yeah.
I do like that. You don't like it, do you? I think that's my favourite.
It's interesting. I prefer that one.
But that was after lockdown because I'd grew my hair and my beard all out.
Right.
So my hair was ridiculous and my beard was all like scruffy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just thought, to be fair, at the start of lockdown I shaved my hair and my beard fully
Completely?
off. Yeah. And I looked, honestly, my mum was fuming with me. I'm not living with you looking like that. But yeah, so I grew it all out. And then I liked it, but the only problem was, when I was playing, it used to come down and come in my eyes and stuff like that when it was raining. It used to do my head in because I used to always have to be doing that.
Those two look hard to manage.
Yeah, because my hair's so thick. That was ridiculous. That's too far. I don't know why. I didn't even realise it was that bad. But I could see myself having that again. to be honest. I might, do you know what? Now I've looked at that,
It's coming back.
I'm going to get that back.
I remember looking at hairdressers trying to fit you in for a perm. Do you remember that? Things I
No,
do.
do you know what it was? It was that my hair was getting long, but it was getting in my eyes again.
Right.
So I thought if I could get the front
Get
of
the
it just
perm.
like stuck, like so it didn't move,
Yeah.
then it'd be sound. But it was.
Did you ever get it done? The
I got a
perm?
soft perm.
Right. All the secrets are coming
I got
out
a
now.
soft perm.
I saw your story the other day with the little poll. What next?
Yeah. I know everyone voted for that because they thought it was funny.
Skinhead.
Yeah. But you're not having that trim, no. Do you not think I'd suit it?
Give it a go. If we beat Cardiff,
He's nodding his head.
if we beat Cardiff, skinhead.
I'm not going to say that on camera, yeah, because when have we got Cardiff again?
March the 16th.
Yeah, it's too close to summer. I'll have a skinhead and that just won't be nice.
It'll grow.
Yeah, I want that. That's
Okay.
what I'm going to get.
Go for that one then.
Yeah,
That'll be
I'll tell you what,
nice.
if I score a hat-trick against Cardiff,
Yeah.
right? If I score a hat-trick
Yeah.
against Cardiff, I'll trim my hair. I'll get my trim like that again.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Not saying,
Deal.
but what if? So if it's 2-2 in the last minute and I've got a penalty, what do I do? All right.
There we go.
Oh my God. At the training ground, yeah?
I'll do it for you.
All right, at the training ground.
Yeah.
On the centre spot,
On the
round the
side- yeah.
cage.
There we go. And
Skinhead.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it. Mental. If I score in the first minute now, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to have a skinner.
I'll have the clippers
I'm
ready.
going to have a skinhead.
As you can see, there's a trend of me stitching you up. I'm not really stitching you up in this one, it's okay.
Right.
But when Luke came back and we needed someone's face to go on Baby Yoda, of course it had to be you.
Yeah.
Have a look. It's not the picture, it's fine.
It's
You're
not.
safe. You're
What
safe.
is it then?
Just have a look.
You're joking. Honestly, Soph. You've actually got a Yoda.
No, Luke was. Oh, it makes a noise I didn't realise.
Yes, you did.
I promise you. I promise you. I didn't know.
Got feet like you as well, Soph.
Right, okay. Come on. Composed. Luke was one of the reasons why you came to the club initially. What did you enjoy so much about working with him?
Well, obviously I knew him at Bristol from before, and I used to get along with him there and then when he was at Bristol. I loved his character and the way he was. He was always up for a laugh, and his level of detail was good. But I remember training with the 23s once. We had like a bit of a mixed group, and he took it, and I was like, "Whoa, he's good." And then obviously when I come into Swansea, he's sitting me down with a laptop, showing me clips. You're never too old enough to improve and get better, and he was really good with me, and yeah, I'm buzzing to have him back. I think everybody is. He really suits the place. Really understands the culture and the Swansea way, I suppose. And yeah, I think it's future's bright with him in charge.
He hasn't been in too long, but how much have you enjoyed him being back?
Well, yeah, I loved every session's a lot more difficult, a lot more high intense. To try and play the way we're trying to play now, mid-season, is difficult. Everybody knows that. I think the fans understand that. But you can already see, second half against Southampton, for example, we looked like what we want to be. Birmingham at times, obviously first game away, they had a new manager, difficult, pitch wasn't great. It's not an excuse, but it's just another factor really. And we should have won the game in the end. Southampton, obviously, you can see they've had 8-9 months of training under Russell, and they're really structured and knew exactly where each other were, and it was difficult in that first half, but he made a tactical change at half time, and it shows how clever he is, how bright, and how he sees the game, and a few tactical tweaks, and you could see we were completely different. It's going to take time for him to learn. Obviously there's a few new players here that need to learn that way of playing. There's a few that have been here that get it, and it's not that easy. You need 11 players that know exactly how to play that type of football for it to be effective. But yeah, I'm excited for the future, and I think the fans should be, and he'll improve players, and he's very easy to get along with, as you know. he's very enthusiastic and bright, and the meetings are never negative. There's always a positive spin on it, and yeah, he's so good at delivering his way of playing. So we're all happy with it, and it will take time, and hopefully the quicker that we get into that process, the better.
What would you say your hopes are now for the rest of the season?
The hopes for the rest of the season is to get us playing in a way where the fans are happy, they see the effort, they see the commitment of the boys, and try and win as many games as possible. It's hard to really come in and put a target on where we want to finish in the season. When it's mid-season, it's difficult. We just want to see improvement every game, improvement in training, and a style of play that, you know, everybody could see that we're working towards. And yeah, when you've got that plan and you've got that sort of that goal, you're always seeing the improvement slowly and slowly. I think everyone gets on board, the fans are connected with the staff and the players, and that's when it can really bloom. But we just need to give it a little bit of time.
Right, I'm going to wrap this up because I can't take you serious talking serious football with that in your hand. But thank you. I hope I didn't stitch you up too much.
Not really. Not that bad. My mum stitched me up. I'm going to call her in a minute.
No, don't.
She's getting it.
Don't take it out on her. It's my fault. Well, thank you.
That's all right. I've enjoyed it.